The Junkers Ju-87 Stuka, short for Sturzkampfflugzeug, meaning dive bomber, was a German single-engine dive bomber developed by the Junkers Aircraft Company. Known for its terrifying dive sirens and its deadly precision, the Ju-87 became a symbol of Nazi Germany's early successes during World War II. Its distinctive, inverted gull wings and fixed undercarriage made it easily recognizable, and it was an essential tool of the German blitzkrieg, used to support ground troops by destroying enemy fortifications, tanks, and other strategic targets. The Stuka was a highly specialized aircraft designed for a specific purpose, delivering pinpoint accuracy in dive bombing attacks, and it was highly successful in its early campaigns, although it struggled in later years against more modern enemy aircraft. The Ju-87 Stuka was developed in the early 1930s, in line with the rising demand for a highly accurate tactical bomber that could provide close air support to ground forces. The Luftwaffe, Germany's newly formed air force, saw the potential of dive bombing as a means of destroying entrenched targets with great accuracy. Junkers began work on the aircraft in 1933, with the first prototype flying in 1935. The concept of dive bombing was not new, but the Stuka was the first aircraft to be purpose-built for the role. It incorporated several unique features to enhance its effectiveness in this specialized mission. One of the key elements was its automatic dive recovery system, which helped the pilot pull out of steep dives, reducing the risk of blacking out under high G-forces or crashing. Additionally, the Ju-87 was fitted with dive brakes to control its descent speed during an attack, allowing for more accurate bomb delivery. A particularly notable addition to the Stuka was the inclusion of Jericho trumpets, wind-driven sirens attached to the landing gear. These sirens emitted a loud, terrifying wail as the aircraft entered its dive, intended to demoralize enemy troops below. This psychological warfare tactic made the Stuka a feared weapon on the battlefield. The Stuka entered mass production in 1936, with the Ju-87A being the first production model. However, it was the later variants, particularly the Ju-87B and Ju-87D, that saw the most extensive use. The B model introduced several improvements, including a more powerful engine and redesigned tail surfaces, making it more stable in a dive. The Ju-87D variant, which entered service in 1941, was an even more refined version, featuring increased bomb load capacity, better armor, and additional defensive armament. Throughout the war, roughly 6,500 Ju-87s were built in various versions. Although this number was significant, the Stuka was never produced in the same vast quantities as other aircraft like the Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighter, primarily due to its specialized role. One of the more interesting variants was the Ju-87G, which was modified for anti-tank warfare. The G model was equipped with two 37mm cannons under the wings, making it a potent weapon against armored vehicles. It was primarily used on the Eastern Front by famous Stuka ace Hans Ulrich Rudel, who claimed hundreds of tank kills in this version of the aircraft. The Ju-87 Stuka was a key element of the Luftwaffe's tactics during the early stages of World War II. It played a central role in the blitzkrieg campaigns in Poland, France, and the Low Countries, where its ability to deliver accurate, devastating bombing raids on enemy positions and infrastructure proved invaluable. Stukas were instrumental in destroying bridges, railways, and bunkers, helping to disrupt enemy supply lines and communications. During the Battle of France in 1940, the Stuka terrorized Allied forces, often attacking columns of retreating troops, destroying vehicles, and contributing to the rapid German advance. Its psychological impact was significant, with many ground troops reporting panic and chaos caused by the piercing sound of its dive sirens. The Battle of Britain in 1940 marked the beginning of the Stuka's decline. The Ju-87 was highly vulnerable to modern fighters due to its relatively slow speed, lack of maneuverability, and limited defensive armament. British Spitfires and Hurricanes easily intercepted and shot down Stukas, leading to significant losses. The Luftwaffe was forced to withdraw the Stuka from the Battle of Britain, and it was clear that while it excelled in uncontested airspace, it struggled in the face of modern fighter opposition. Despite its vulnerability, the Stuka continued to see extensive use in other theaters, particularly on the Eastern Front and in North Africa, where it was highly effective in supporting German ground forces. In the vast expanses of the Soviet Union, the Stuka's ability to deliver pinpoint attacks on Soviet armor and artillery proved critical, especially in the early stages of Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union. As the war progressed, however, the Stuka became increasingly obsolete. Allied air superiority and the introduction of faster, more agile fighter bombers like the Focke-Wulf FW-190 meant that the Stuka's role diminished. By 1943, it was clear that the era of the dedicated dive bomber was coming to an end. The Ju-87 was gradually replaced by more versatile aircraft capable of performing multiple roles in the evolving battlefield environment. In its intended role as a dive bomber, the Ju-87 was highly successful, particularly in the early years of the war. Its ability to destroy precision targets and provide close air support made it a critical component of the blitzkrieg strategy. The Stuka was used to great effect in campaigns where air superiority had already been achieved, allowing it to operate without significant opposition from enemy fighters. However, the Stuka's success was limited by its specialized design. It was slow, with a maximum speed of around 250 miles per hour, and its lack of defensive armament made it highly vulnerable when faced with enemy fighters. Once the Allies gained air superiority, the Stuka became an easy target, suffering heavy losses, particularly during the Battle of Britain and later on the Eastern Front. The Ju-87 Stuka became infamous not only for its effectiveness as a weapon of war, but also for its psychological impact. The terrifying sound of its dive sirens, combined with the devastation it unleashed on the ground, made it a symbol of Nazi Germany's early dominance in the war. It became one of the most recognized aircraft of the conflict, often featured in propaganda films and war documentaries. While its popularity faded as the war progressed, the Stuka remains a significant part of World War II aviation history. Its role in the blitzkrieg campaigns and its reputation as a fearsome dive bomber have ensured its place in popular memory. Today, the Ju-87 is often seen as a symbol of both the strengths and weaknesses of early World War II military aviation, highly effective in certain roles, but ultimately outclassed by more advanced and versatile aircraft as the war progressed. In conclusion, the Ju-87 Stuka was an aircraft that achieved remarkable success in its early years due to its precision bombing capabilities, but its vulnerabilities became more pronounced as the war dragged on. Despite this, it left an indelible mark on the history of air warfare, forever associated with the concept of dive bombing and the terror it inflicted on its targets.